Nationalism is a worldview that upholds the belief that the legitimacy of a state is derived from the ethnic, ancestral and cultural unity of those that it governs.
This sense of organic unity is crucial as it gives rise to trust, harmony and a shared identity, which are necessary for the smooth functioning of a society. A society can maintain a cohesive and a stable state with this shared identity. Defining and protecting national borders and identity is driven by the deep-seated natural desire for political sovereignty and self-determination, which will always be there for people who share a common heritage, traditions and a homeland.
What leads us to nationalism is not disdain or contempt for other peoples. It is a profound love of our own, pride in our ancestors' accomplishments, and admiration for their struggle and sacrifice. A heartfelt devotion to the land that has kept us well for countless generations. We honour the hard work and toil of the past, which paved the way for opportunities we are privileged with today. As nationalists, we remember that we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors, and we have a duty to pass their legacy on to our descendants.
There are several principles that underpin the idea of nationalism. These are as follows. Self-determination is the principle that each nation is entitled to govern themselves in their respective territories. The right to self-determination has a centuries-old history in mainstream Western philosophy, and a well-established international precedent.
Membership of a nation is defined by ancestry, rather than political or bureaucratic decisions. This is a long-established legal concept called jus sanguinis, or the law of blood. Essentially, a nation is an ethnic group that has become conscious of its unity and seeks to have its own government within a specific geographic territory.
A nation's state derives political legitimacy from the ethnic unity of those it governs, its protective function against colonization, persecution, racial strife or abuse, and its purpose to preserve the culture of its people.
Ethnicity is a group of people of common origin who share easily definable characteristics, mainly language, culture, and hereditary factors. Ethnicity is an individual's hereditary and cultural origin, and not merely that person's place of birth.
The notion of homeland plays a crucial role in the foundation of a nation-state. A defined homeland is vital for the development of an ethnic group. The absence of a defined homeland makes it difficult to establish a sense of unity and belonging based on shared ancestry.
Nationalism is not about supremacism. It is not predicated on the demand to suppress, oppress, disadvantage or rule anybody else, but rather upon the right to be free of all those restrictions. Belonging to an in-group is a natural right and need. It is a right which does not infringe upon the rights of any others, and is a right which is morally correct and can be defended on any platform. It is the right to be ourselves within our homeland.
The implications of nationalism, if applied to all peoples, are therefore profound. All ethnic groups have a right to be themselves in their territories and are entitled to due respect.
All ethnic groups have a right to retain their culture, heritage, tradition and identity without fear of being undermined, persecuted or threatened.
Each nation has the right to govern and maintain their territories for their people to ensure that their culture, heritage, tradition and identity remain intact.
The demand for self-determination must be granted equally, fairly and without favour of prejudice towards all nations.
Any move, threat or political action to dissolve, displace or replace an ethnic group in their territory, whether intentional or not, is an act against the rights of the subject ethnic group.
A civilization is born from the nature of the people making up the population in that territory. It is clear that if the people responsible for creating a particular culture or identity are no longer present, that the culture and identity will disappear. The indigenous peoples of these islands, the English, Irish, Scottish and Welsh, have a natural right to self-determination, politically, economically, socially and culturally. The ideology of internationalism seeks to undermine this right. We all have the right to be free of external control, forced integration, or being subsumed into a homogenized global mass, and to assert our unique cultural identity in our respective territories.
Nationalism stands against the oppressive, progressive, liberal designs of internationalist elites. Twisted by their desire for money and power, they will make the world as grey as themselves. Their aggressive form of capitalism seeks to make us all into replaceable consumers. They push for uniformity, conformity, an end to uniqueness and to the extraordinary diversity of nations. A world where everyone is equally isolated, exploitable and rootless.
Some political ideologues portray themselves as nationalists when, in reality, they are internationalists squabbling over political power. They care nothing for any ethnic group, our cultures, or the land itself. Do not allow yourself to be deceived. Their deception must be called out at every turn. Nationalism represents a truly radical and, from the internationalist point of view, potentially dangerous idea. However, if people worldwide prioritise preserving their unique identities over the global melting pot concept, it would spell the end of the truly dangerous liberal progressivism that destroys the diversity of nations.
The nationalist worldview is the most natural political theory and the true champion of diversity. It acknowledges the distinct contributions made by various nations to enrich the fabric of humanity, prioritising the welfare of people over economic and progressive ideas. If all individuals of goodwill understand this worldview and demand self-determination, freedom and a greater respect for global diversity, it will create a more peaceful and cooperative future for the whole world.